So, good afternoon, ladies and gents, and welcome to the first New Media Literacy course of the semester. Because there might be some Erasmus students joining us, I would like to introduce myself once again, even though we met yesterday for media communication, because there might be some other people joining us. So, my name is Dr. Esther Dali, and I have been working for the institution for 7 years now. And my main field of research is visual rhetoric and the philosophy of images. I was researching it for my doctorate dissertation as well, and I really did enjoy it. However, I do love the topic of new media and the social changes and everything that we will be speaking about in this course as well. So I'm very much looking forward to it. This is one of my favorite courses. Not online though, but we don't really have a choice unfortunately because of the pandemic situation. So before we jump right into the topics and the semester and the schedule and everything, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the requirements, ladies and gents, so that you know what you need to do for this course right here. It will be a course which is a lecture, so it's not compulsory. However, of course, I'm very happy if you're there, and I'm very happy if you're joining the conversation, actively taking part in it, so that it's not, I know that we cannot meet like face to face, and it's not going to be the same ever because it's just not possible. However, I'm very much grateful if you're coming and if we can have some sort of a, well, not face to face, asynchronous and synchronous conversation right here. I will be most probably doing videos. I will upload it onto YouTube where I will put it on the Premiere function. And so we will be able to be chatting right next to the YouTube video. There will be a little chat window and we will be able to kind of share some thoughts while the video is playing. And then right afterwards, when the video is done, we will be going into Microsoft Teams and we will be speaking like live. We will be speaking about, well, all the ideas that came up and all the phenomena that we kind of heard about in the video, right? That will be the schedule. So it will be a 90-minute lecture every week on Thursdays. And in order to gain a mark in the end of the semester, very similarly to our other course, which we have with the basic group and not the Erasmus group, because Erasmus will only join this one, you will need to get into groups in the end of the semester. And in the last 3 courses of the semester, we will be having your presentations in Microsoft Teams. So you will need to get into groups. I will need to check out how many members will constitute one group, but I'm assuming about 4 or 5. I'm still thinking because I'm pre-recording this video and I'm unsure of how many people will actually register to the course. We will see. So you will need to get into groups. You will choose a group topic. I will recommend topics. However, I do not want to be limiting you. You can choose any topic. I will be kind of giving you topic ideas such as, which are really hot topics, and very typical ones like new media and mental health, or new media and body image, which is really, all over the media all the time. Or new media and the dark web, for example, how terrorism is kind of supported by new media, or new media and politics, how politics are kind of supported by the fact that nowadays every single kind of politician has got a Facebook page, an Instagram page, a Twitter page, how they're communicating with their audiences and stuff like that. You can just choose, or big data, for example, anything that you fancy. You will need to be working in groups and you will need to hold an approximately 20-minute presentation in the end of the semester. So there will be 9 presentations, 3 in the last 3 courses. I hope it makes sense. And then afterwards, once it's done and the semester is over, in the exam period, you will need to take an oral exam. That will happen in Microsoft Teams as well. And it's going to be individual, right? So your oral exam is your own oral exam, obviously. The oral exam, I will speak about it later, but it's just that you will get a random topic and you will need, during the semester, we have spoken about it, obviously, and you will talk about that topic. I will ask you further questions and then you will receive another mark. Now, for the team presentation, you will get 1 mark for the whole team. So it's very good if the team is kind of cooperating well, And so for the presentation, you will get 1/3 of the mark. Okay, so let's say you get a 5 for the presentation. That's really, really good. And then let's say that you go to the oral exam and you will that mark will be responsible for 2/3 of the final mark. Okay. So let's say that you get a 5 for presentation, each member of the group, and then you will go to the oral exam, and let's say that something goes wrong. Nothing will, of course. Something goes wrong, but I want to say a good example, and you get a 3 mark for the oral exam. So you've got a 1 mark and 2 3 marks practically, because it counts double, and then you put it together and it will result in a 4 in the end, because it's 3 plus 3 plus 5, 11 divided by 3, 3.6. Yes, that's a 4. Okay, so the oral exam will count double. That's the very sense of it. I hope that it makes a lot of sense to you. Presentation is done in groups, and then oral exam is done individually. One of them counts 1 and the other one counts double. I will merge the mark together, and then I will kind of see the average, and that's going to be your final mark for the new media literacy course. I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, we will still speak about it in Microsoft Teams, and then I hope everything will be kind of well, tolerable and understandable. Well, as much as we can achieve that. Let's have a look at the topics of the semester, shall we? So we will first speak about the changes within society. Of course, today we will be meeting each other. We will kind of take a look at each other if there are new students as well and stuff like that. But then we will speak about this one in the video. Then we will speak about the media revolution, how the media has evolved throughout the decades, and how from traditional media we got onto online media, new media, and how and what sort of challenges that kind of part takes in the whole story. Information society, that's a boring part. I hope that nobody will kind of commit suicide during that one. Information itself, new media, that's going to kind of contribute to new media literacy itself. Big data, social media, the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech has really changed, because if on television, in traditional media, or in print, I said something inappropriate or something that I shouldn't have said, then I was penalized very easily. Now, within online media, the freedom of speech is really, really difficult, because if somebody types something inappropriate or hurtful or illegal online, then it's just, it's anonymous, sorry, and it's just not very visible who was doing that. Even if the domain is visible, then you can just always say that, oh, my laptop was stolen or something. It's just very, very difficult to catch the person, to penalize, to kind of, get the consequences out of it. Media convergence, the digital device, and then web security. We will also speak about love languages, which I didn't put in here, but that's going to be an extra class, and I really, really do like it. How your love languages kind of go, and how romance in the new media has changed. We will speak about it a little bit today, but we will kind of dedicate a full-on lecture to it. And yeah, so that's going to be the semester. I hope that you kind of fancy many of the topics. I will try and make it as enjoyable as possible. And okay, so practically these are all the information that I wanted to share with you. And I suggest that we have a look at the topic for today, and let's jump right into it, because that's why we're here. So, ladies and gents, changes of society. This is going to be the first kind of, softer topic of the first class, so that you don't get deterred too much. And I think I've listed a good 12 to 13 changes that I have noticed, but of course, I'm very, very curious about your opinion as well. We will speak about it in Microsoft Teams to it later, so that you can kind of share your opinion as well, what sort of changes you have noticed in your own behavior, in your own surrounding, and in society in general, due to the spread of online media. So, globalization. First of all, ladies and gents, the socio-cultural barriers between nations became absolutely fluid. So, and that is supported by new media. So before all that, when our parents wanted to travel, or when they wanted to move abroad, it necessarily meant that they kind of lost contact with the family, right? So if you moved abroad, or if you, for example, a dissertation, that was an issue in Hungary, unfortunately, because we come from a communist country where oppression was really, really serious in the 1950s, 60s, even 70s as well. So if you decided that you leave the country for good, you will never be able to talk to your family again. Now, of course, the whole communist period is gone, but even in the 2000s, I think if you moved away from your country, the only way you could keep in touch with your family was via the telephone, which was really, really pricey. Now the new media actually supports the global movement of people because it's just, it's easier, it's cheap, it's for free practically. You can see each other's faces as well. You can Skype, you can do whatever, messenger, video chat, this and that and that. So it's just the whole global movement of it, of people, was kind of resulting in a global information society where people are happy to be migrating. Migration will be another topic in here, but the whole internet has created a global information society. Good. Another change of society is kind of contributed to the fact that our knowledge is exported. If I ask you how many phone numbers you know by heart, I think the majority of my students tend to answer that they know two, maybe, but not even that. Maybe not, sometimes not even their own telephone number do they know. If I asked you how many poems you know by heart, that's going to be like one, maximum two. It's really, really a low number. We don't know anything by heart anymore. And when our phone dies or when the battery, goes down, our brain dies as well. So it's like every single piece of information, piece of knowledge is in that smart device that we're using. We don't know anything by heart anymore. We do know, however, where to search for it. So I will find information way quicker than my mom does. I mean, my mom is a different story, but she's very clumsy with technology. I love my mom, don't get me wrong, but she's really clumsy. But you will have to see that our knowledge is exported into smart devices, which is necessarily kind of losing a little romance towards learning by heart and knowing things by heart. And I find it impressive when people still know poems and information and good vocabulary and stuff like that by heart. Still, it's a new phenomenon. Sorry if I seem techno pessimistic. That's probably because I am. But if you're not, and I do see a lot of good sides of technology, I'm just showing you some phenomena which can be interpreted both good and bad, and I interpret them bad, but that's me, sorry. Another change of society is going to be that the elderly are going to be excluded. I kind of implied to it that certain, like even parents, I mean, your parents are obviously younger than mine. Mine are between 60 and 70 years old. And our grandparents who are between 80, 90 years old, maybe younger for you, of course, they are kind of experiencing a phenomenon which is called techno stress. So they will be kind of like stressed out by the whole technological devices. So they will have a lack of literacy regarding technology, like which button do I have to push and how do I navigate from this side to that side. That's already a problem. But they also have got a problem, like a cultural media literacy lack as well, because they do not know how to differentiate between fake news and normal news. They will click on every single pop-up ad that's possible. They will not be able to filter the news which are interesting to them and which are not. I find my mom is and my dad, of course, but um, both of them actually, they will be kind of spending a lot of time on new advertisements which are popping up in a YouTube video when we are just scrolling through and it's like it's not interesting for us. It's nothing. They will pay attention to all kinds of little things as well, which are not needed. So, and it causes techno stress that we call them. They're very successful people in life. My parents are teachers. They are very they are very minded people and normal people in real life. But when it comes to technology, it's a stress kind of resource for them. And it's just not, it's just impossible for them to be catching up with the new technology as well as we do. I'm wondering how your parents are acting and what sort of conflicts you've got. For example, if your parents are up on social media as well, and we will speak about it later on, but this is another issue as well. Like, are your parents young enough to be on social media? And if they are so, are they your friends on Facebook? So many people said that they migrated from Facebook to Instagram, maybe TikTok as well, because that's your kind of age group. but they moved from Facebook to Insta because they wanted no parental kind of control. I'm not sure about you, and I'm not sure whether you've had any kind of inconvenience because your parent is online. We will speak about it as well because that's a new phenomenon too, which is somewhat interesting because before all that, the parent used to control your like real non-virtual life, and now there is a control there as well because the parent became more motivated to take part in social media as well. Very interesting. Okay, individualism. Now, ladies and gents, before all that, the traditional media, for example, watching TV or listening to the radio, that was kind of a community program. Like the family sat down and watched a good film together in the evening, and then everybody went to bed, and that's it. It doesn't really happen with new media, does it? It's not like, oh, please, sister, please, mom, let's take a seat and let's have a look at my Instagram page. It doesn't really happen, does it? Because the internet and the usage of the internet is a lonely activity. It's not like a community activity. So practically, new media is kind of supporting individualism in a sense that it's myself with myself for myself. It's not a community action. Of course, when you go online, you will be kind of functioning in a community, but the whole usage of new media is going to be absolutely lonely and not like a community action. Entertainment is another change within the society which I wanted to list here for you. And what we can see, I'm not sure if it happened to you as well, but it keeps on happening to me. Oh, sorry, kind of better. So it keeps on happening to me that sometimes when I've got some free time or something, I'm sitting in front of my laptop and thinking that, like, I'm so bored. I'm entertained so much that I'm entertained to boredom. I cannot watch another YouTube video, or I just cannot be surfing another site on the net, and it's just too much. And when we think that the whole entertainment is limitless, because now it's just everywhere and you've got contact to it. I still remember when there were these video houses, when you needed to go and you got a video cassette that you could rent for money. I'm not sure if you did that or if you're old enough for that, but we did that. And so now entertainment is just limitless. It's for free. Obviously, you pay for your internet access, and you can just use it every single minute and moment. The media is motivating us to be more and more and more entertained. It resulted, according to psychologists, in very many behaviors as well. For example, childcare and a lot of things, education, everything is pushed out a lot because we believe that, or we are kind of like taught by new media that you need to be living your best life, doing this, doing that. There is a little demonization towards family and towards work and towards a lot of things. So now we watch a lot of YouTubers who are a dropout from school and who are, super fun and they're living their best lives, and children, they are, the child of the devil, so it's like you don't need that. And it's just like the institutional education of the internet is just kind of pushing out a lot of things that would have been like necessarily happening earlier. Before, the internet is kind of teaching you that you need to be entertained every single moment of your life, and nobody should kind of block you in that, neither your family nor education nor children, nothing at all. So practically, this is a dangerous kind of behavior change in the new society and in youth nowadays. I'm wondering what you think about it. Okay, friendship. If I ask you how many friends you've got online, majority of you will say that you practically have got approximately 800 to 1,000. If I asked you how many friends you've got in real life, majority of you will say that like approximately 2 to 3 close friends and 8 to 10 mates, or like like good friends that you like to hang out with but not super close. So we feel the difference, don't we? Like 3 or 4 people or 2 or 3 people and 1,000 people. That's kind of interesting. So apparently we are having more and more and more acquaintances. I would call them not friends, but Facebook calls them friends. You've got more and more friends online when in reality we've got less and less. And those relationships as well, they change. I'm not sure about you, but I tend to do it sometimes when I'm super, super busy and work is just way too much, that my best friend contacts me, I will just contact her back on Messenger or on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm all over the place. So it's just like, let's just talk later. I will just drop you a line. How are you? How is it going? Drop me a few lines and then it's fine. And then I'm thinking that, like, we didn't meet personally, but it's good enough because I sent her 3 lines on Messenger and that's it. So nowadays, like even the relationships, because of new media, the personal kind of meetings have dropped because we are busy, because our time is very valuable nowadays. And as you're getting older and older, it will be worse and worse, trust me. But nowadays, this kind of new media messaging is, it's just kind of making up for the personal meeting, and you're thinking that, like, okay, now I cared for her. Now she's feeling like taken care of because I dropped a line. It's okay, and we will meet whenever we can. And that's probably like once a month because messaging is there, and the relationship is still kind of maintained. Okay, migration. I have spoken about it regarding, I think, globalization at the beginning of the course or at the beginning of the lesson. And so we have mentioned that a new global society. I'm not sure what's wrong with my voice, but it's really suspicious to me. God, it's good that we're online, really. So, the globalization is an issue. And globalization, because we're creating this big global village of people at the moment, it's very much supported by migration as well. It's not the 2015 migration wave that we are experiencing at the moment within Europe. It is the classic wandering that, like, you're brave enough to move away. Maybe you're a foreign student right now and you moved away from your family from Vietnam or from wherever, from the Netherlands, and you are really far away from your family and you're brave enough. By the way, that's really brave. Congratulations, because it's not everybody is capable of that, including myself. So it's just like really much supporting global movements because it's cheap, it's for free, and you can keep in touch with the family. Easy, very easy. Okay, bedroom culture. Now, I find it that it's a very modern phenomenon. And we can say that within Hungary, the average family or the average couple has got 1.2 children. At the moment, due to governmental interference and regulations and new policies, it has kind of come up to 100, what's that, 1.5 children, I think, thank God. But in the Western world as well, it's 0.8 child per couple or per family that are being born. So that's not a lot. That's practically the fact that, or that means the fact that there is one child per family. What happens? Because each family will have only one child, an only child, the people or the families will be kind of more, I'm not sure how to say, more concerned, more kind of obsessed with the safety of their child. And I don't mean that those people who have got more children, they don't care because they say that, oh, if one of them dies, I will still have another 2 children. It's no problem. I'm not saying that, of course, but you have to notice a tendency in the behavior of those parents who only have one child. They will be obsessed, more obsessed with the safety of the child. That's what kind of brought into existence the bedroom culture, which is a new phenomenon of the parents in the 21st century. It means that they will put up the child into their bedroom and they will kind of surround them with all kind of smart devices, sorry. So there will be a laptop there, a PS, is that still a thing? I'm so old, God. Okay, but still, you know what I mean, that it's like full of smart devices saying that, like, it's safe because they shouldn't go out because out there is the, the bad lady, the bad gentleman, the bad drug, the bad alcohol, and they just shouldn't leave the bedroom. They just should stay in the bedroom safe and sound. Now, I'm sure that you have heard about very many things which are online and are really dangerous. For example, the Blue Whale Challenge. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. Or, for example, where people needed to, I think they needed to fulfill a 40-step, what's that, like a challenge line. And then in the end, I think the last one was committing suicide even. So that's really, really dangerous. Another one was Momo, which one was like this very, like, extremely ugly creature scaring children to death. They're also like motivating them to commit suicide, as far as I remember. There was another one, the Tide Pod Challenge, which was motivating children to eat these, these capsules that we're washing clothes with. They needed to eat that one, and yeah, that was not very healthy, was it? I think some people even died of it. So the bedroom culture is just a fake safety. It's not safe at all. The internet is not safe, and you can be speaking to whomever. If you have watched any of the catfish shows, for example, like there is this pretty little girl talking to a very handsome 16-year-old boy, and it turns out that boy is like a 55-year-old man with a huge belly and kind of a pervy kind of intention. So that's really, really dangerous as well. Okay, let's not give up. There's some more to come. Home office, ladies and gents. Home office has changed our working patterns a lot, and we can see that there is an increased number of working hours, super increased. So before all that, you went into the office or you went into the mines to be hitting the wall for 8 hours, and then you went home and you were left alone. Thank God. Now it's not like that. So you go to school, for example, you yourselves, because that's like home office too, you go to school if there's no pandemic, you've got your lessons, and then you go home, and then you've got many, many things to still do. I do the same. I go to school, I teach, or I research, or I do my job. I come home and I continue to work until 10 o'clock p.m. or midnight or something, because we do have the smart device, we do have the internet, and you just never stop working. That's how it is nowadays. And I know that university life is already similar to this. And then the work life itself going to be even worse because you still have got the access. And because people still expect you to do it, because it's like we know that you've got it at home as well, and we know that you can do it by tomorrow. So go home and do it after your working hours. Not nice, not very good. 200 years ago, there was a research about it. People worked 4 hours per day. According to my personal opinion, I think that that's like pretty much enough. But now it's just like work is pushed on you, and there is a very serious amount of burnout. So you can see it as well that the modern youth nowadays, they are taking jobs, and the average time of changing jobs is every 2 years. It never used to be that way. When people used to get a job, they would stay in it until they die. It was no project style working and short temporary working. It was just like you got into it. But now, because it's just like spinning around you, the whole work for 16 hours a day, you just get burnt out. And you're like, okay, after 2 years, perfectly enough. Because we are just doing it, we're kind of burning on big flames, if that's a thing in English. And so it's just really, really not healthy. And for that reason, people keep changing their work every 2 years because it's just too much, really. Cyberbullying, another fun kind of time. Let's have a look. Bullying has always been there. And much as I am a very pro baby kind of person, I think they're really, really sweet and stuff. Um, I do believe that children can be super extra mean, and not just honest, because people say that, oh, they're honest little creatures. No, they're mean. They're very, very mean sometimes. And so bullying has always been there. I'm not sure if you have been bullied. I think all of us has been kind of said something throughout life which was not kind. And that happened in kindergarten, that happened in school, that happens everywhere, of course. But in real life, bullying comes to an end, right? So at kindergarten, people say that you are ugly and fat and stupid, and you go home and you're fine. Cyberbullying is worse because you go home from kindergarten and you're still ugly and fat and stupid online and in front of a plenum, right? So everybody can see it that you are being bullied. Everybody is taking part in it. Bullying continues even in your home, and there is no time for relief. So it's just like you're not getting better because it's just there all the time. And maybe if real life bullying is just happening in a circle of people, this one is happening like in front of a scene of people, and that's not good. The reaction of parents is also really not, majority of times, don't get me wrong, sometimes they are really good, but majority of times they don't react well. So they will react that like, did I not tell you to come off from that stupid site? Why are you on Facebook? Why are you on Instagram? Why are you doing that to yourself? And then you're feeling even worse, aren't you? Because you see that half of the world is online, and it's only me that is not capable of partaking in this whole global society online. Like I'm feeling even more crazy and stupid. So Yeah, that's really, really bad. Online bullying it resulted in very ugly cases, and I'm not sure if you have heard of any of them, but there were, I think they even go sometimes until suicide. I've heard some cases from America, but I would like to be talking to you about it in Teams as well. So yeah, let's just stop it now, and then we will return to the topic later. The concept of time. This is a big change as well, ladies and gents. So I find it that we are gradually losing patience towards everything. So I find it too that if I maybe like sit down on the metro or like the underground or something, I cannot sit down and look out of my head for a good 2 minutes because I feel that my time is wasted. So I will just take my smartphone and think like, oh, I can still send a couple of emails, I can still contact this and that person, I can still be useful and or still be entertained, still look at a video online or something. And we perceive time which is spent like in quiet or in loneliness or in your own thoughts useless time, which is not good. I'm not sure if you're feeling this as well, but sometimes when you're just sitting there looking out through the window, it seems to be lost time and just not useful time, really. Okay, number 12, the institution of courting. True. Social rituals are changing too. I mean, a lot of things are changing. For example, I'm not sure if you've got any tactics when you and your friends are going to a bar or somewhere to have a drink. I have noticed it, and so many students of mine are saying it, and we have been doing it with my friends as well, that you need to put your phone into the middle of the table, and the person who touches their phone the first, they will need to invite everybody for a round of drinks. Because everybody keeps on being on their smartphones, and when you get together in real life, you don't need that. Of course, you want to enjoy like the company and not your smartphone, of course. Now you need to be using tactics in order to get the kind of the attention of your own friends, which is crazy. But other social institutions have changed as well. Social rituals have changed as well, which is, for example, the institution of courting as well. Courting, by which we mean that the man starts, courting the lady, starts romantically approaching the lady. Like, I mean, traditionally it's not a new thing. So, I mean, courting and kind of using tactics in order to get love is not a new thing. So, in the 1700s, bachelors searched for wives through printed advertisements. So, it has always been there. Tinder is not a modern, I mean, it's a modern thing, but it did have some pre-runners as well. And there were some matrimonial agencies which were putting you up for marriage, practically. It was a big business in Britain in the 18th century. So it's quite an old thing that there is a printing advertisement or some sort of an institution which will help you find the love of your life or well, the love of your night or something, I'm not sure. Um, back in the days, it was a little different. So at the age of 21, it was considered shameful if you were not married and if you were single, especially if you were a woman. But as a man as well, you can see that bachelors they were searching for wives as well because they were just thought that they were incapable or not manly enough or there was something wrong with them. So there were already these agencies. Printing ads were the last resort for some men or some women to find them, and if I mean to find love. And if a match was made, it was not talked about freely. And I'm not sure how it is at the moment in the 21st century because I was looking at or reading researches, and back in the days when Tinder was coming around and all the dating apps like oh, I don't know much. Kiss.com. Oh, that's the good one. That's the sugar daddy one. It's really, really. I'm not sure if you've had it in your countries. The advertisements, they are my favorite ones. It's like a very pretty lady, and there is like these very sickeningly old hands which are putting a diamond necklace around the lady's neck. And this is the sugar daddy website. I know that one. And so, I mean, not personally, but I do know the existence of it. And there is some other ones like I'm not sure, like Happen or some other things like that, of course. But so I think it was uncomfortable. So majority of people who were taking part in a survey, they were not happy to share with their friends that they met online or on Tinder or on any other dating app or sex apps, really, because Tinder is considered to be not a dating app but a sex app. despite the fact that so many times it's a relationship coming out of it, not a one night stand. So it's interesting. Yeah, so dating websites, they were coming along in the 1990s, 1994, 1995, they were having a peak, and dating websites already existed. And online dating soon became a huge market, and people recognized the strength behind it, that like it's powerful, it's really good. And so afterwards, blah blah blah. Yes, they're spending a lot of money on it because the good dating apps, they're all, I think, like having Elite. There is this Elite dash. This is like the Elite Companion.hu. This is a Hungarian website where you need to pay, as far as I know, in order to like get on the website. And many Americans, they were paying like $500 million per day per year in 2007. So you can tell that it's a big business, and so many websites are paying websites. So it's the second highest industry on the web. Online dating is. I'm not sure if you can guess the first one. Yes, it's pornography. Um, if you were thinking that. Okay, so why do we choose, or why do people choose online dating? Because our lives are too busy, because there is lack of confidence in person. I mean, for men as well, we need to shout out to them, because majority of times, of course, in traditional cases, it's the man going up to the woman. It's a lot of courage, I think. And on top of that, it's a lot of money as well. So if in the bar you go up to a lady and you're like, hey, can I invite you for a gin and tonic? And then the lady says yes, and then she goes away. That's a wasted gin and tonic. And well, I don't think that should happen. Like, gin and tonic is yeah, it shouldn't be wasted, you know. Tired of the bar scene and a wish to expand a social circle. There are lots of reasons for going into online dating. I'm not sure what you think about it, if you have ever done it, and what you think about being judged regarding this method. Do you think that it's still uncomfortable to openly talk about the fact that I met a girl online, or I met a boy on Tinder and we've been dating for 3 months? I'm not sure what you think about it now. I'm curious about your opinion. Back in the days when it all started a couple of years ago, it was not very much spoken about, but nowadays I think it's more accepted. I'm not sure. I will be curious about your opinion. Okay. Yeah, it's enough of this. What the hell? Okay. Being watched. This is the last one, and one of the most crucial, and regarding media literacy, one of the most important new changes of society. Now, being watched is an issue, of course, and the origins of being watched is not new at all. There was a theory called the panopticon theory, and I find it a super exciting idea. There was an English philosopher called Jeremy Bentham in the 18th century, and Jeremy Bentham came up with the idea that a panopticon should be kind of created in real life. The panopticon comes from a Greek word, panoptes. It was a Greek kind of giant or like monster in mythology, and it had 100 eyes. So that's why Jeremy Bentham named his own theory the panopticon theory, due to the the Greek monster called panoptes, and that's why he called it that way. So Jeremy Bentham came up with the idea that for a prison, it would be much nicer. He was practically planning a prison which was not linear like normal prisons, that there is the first floor, second floor, third floor, and there are cells one next to the other. And you need a lot of people to be, like walking up and down, like guards walking up and down to have a look at the like the prisoners if they are not misbehaving and stuff like that. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of infrastructure. It's not good. So Jeremy Bentham said that you need to create a circular kind of a prison. I'm not sure if you can see it in the picture, but it's like a circular prison which can be multiple floored as well. And in the middle of this circle, there is a watchtower. Now there is only one guard in that watchtower, sometimes not even that. So you don't need to pay a lot of guards kind of cruising around in the prison. You just pay one person who is sometimes there, sometimes not, and there is a flashlight which is going to randomly flash into the cells of people in this circular prison. And so people, I mean, the prisoners, they will be scared that any moment this light can be flashing into my cell and people will notice that I'm misbehaving. Maybe I'm kind of scratching the wall in the back and trying to get out from there. And for that reason, because of the mental stress of people of being watched and being like monitored and controlled, they will not be misbehaving. They will rather be, like sitting and be a good boy or a good girl, right? So Jeremy Bentham said that there is a sense of permanent visibility, and when we know that we are being watched, for example, at Corvinus University, you know that there are. If you didn't know, I'm telling you now that there are a lot of cameras there, and I know that I behave unusually normal on the corridors when I'm walking down because I know that I'm being watched, or in the lift as well, or in the elevator. Sorry, that's American. In the elevator as well, you can notice it that you are being watched as well on the bus, on any public transport as well. You are being watched, and you are trying to act well, very normal compared to your weird self, right? So Jeremy Bentham said that being watched and this permanent visibility will ensure the functioning of power. And they say that the random checking on you will kind of result in such a mental stress that you will not be misbehaving, right? So Bentham said that it's good for a prison. He was creating his plans for a prison. However, he said that it could be applied for hospitals, schools, sanatoriums, daycares, asylums. Do you know asylum? That's an asylum in the picture as well from American Horror Stories. That's like a caring institution for people with mental issues or like for crazy people. Let's say that. That's not very PC, but that's the truth. Yeah. So, and he said that this would be a new mode of obtaining power of mind over mind, which was his big idea, the panopticon theory of being watched continuously. Now, it never got realized because people started thinking about it and engineers started planning the whole thing and everything. However, they said that it would be too cruel to people, even to prisoners as well, even if they deserved it. They said that it was just too cruel for humanity because being constantly watched is just too much for an average person's nerve system or nervous system. Right. Now, Bentham, he was living in the 18th century, as I've mentioned, and so he gave the idea to a later philosopher and historian, Michel Foucault. He's a French one. I'm not sure if you have heard about his work called The Discipline and Punishment. And he was talking about it that even though Bentham's idea, like this circular prison building or school or asylum or anything building, never got realized, we are still continuously being watched in the 20th and the 21st century. In the 20th century, of course, dictatorship was watching us. However, in the 21st century, it's also a kind of a dictatorship over us. It's just like the big brother looking at us continuously. How? And I'm wondering if you can give me any more kind of ideas apart from the ones that I've been kind of thinking of. For example, interesting. I didn't put it here. Yes, I did. Super shop cards, bank accounts. Sometimes I'm being phoned by my bank that like, we checked out your expenses and it seems like you have been shopping in this, that, and that store. I'm feeling ashamed already. Like bloody hell, that's how much I spend on an everyday basis. God. And they are like offering me new opportunities to take out a loan for my spendings. And that's what I'm thinking, like, don't look at it. It's horrible. I don't want to know about it. But people are watching it and they will be recommending you more and more opportunities based on that. Internet cookies. Whenever you search for something, like you search for, let's say, a place to travel to, travel agencies will be all over your face because internet cookies work that way. Street cameras, but not only street cameras, but the laptop cameras as well. I'm not sure if you are kind of covering it or not. Normally, I am covering it, but because there were cases, I'm not saying that I'm such a VIP person, that like I'm being watched continuously, but there were big cases. There was this American beauty pageant lady, I think, and she was this very beautiful American lady, and she was being watched through her camera, which she didn't cover, and she didn't know, and she was walking up and down in her flat, sometimes not fully dressed or sometimes not dressed at all. and it's dangerous, and she was being watched, and all her like naked videos or pictures were getting online as well, which is crazy. Targeted advertisements, they can be super creepy. I'm not sure if you've had any creepy experiences, and I'm curious whether you did, and we will speak about it in Microsoft Teams as well. That like sometimes I was having it. I'm not sure if we just pay more attention to it because it was a topic, but I'm not sure that, okay, if you search for something, the cookies will be recommending it to you over and over again. But sometimes it felt like I was speaking to, let's say, my mom or my sister or anyone about something, and even then an advertisement came up. And I'm not sure if it's because like the advertisement would have come up anyway. I just paid more attention to it because it was a topic with mum or not. But I was sometimes having feelings that like somebody is listening as well, not only watching, which is really, really crazy. And there are other very big cases like I think Alexa and Siri and stuff like that. They were having some, I think Alexa was having a kind of a scandal that they are listening to us as well. So we will speak about it all in Microsoft Teams. Yeah, okay, ladies and gents, God, I wanted to have a 25-minute video and we're at 50 minutes almost. Sorry, I'm just getting way too heated now. There are some similarities of society as well, even though a lot of changes occurred. While there are a lot of changes going on, we are still the same in very many aspects. For example, the formulation of narratives. We still love to tell stories. We love to talk about ourselves. We love to talk about our lives. It's just happening. Exhibitionism. We have always been that way. We have always wanted to show off if we had something. We have always wanted to show off things. Now it's even crazier because on Instagram we are showing off, filtered truth. So we're deceiving others by looking very fabulous, even though in real life we might not, or looking always happy, healthy, like rich and stuff, and traveling abroad and doing this, doing that. We don't really share when we are ugly, lying in bed, being sick or something, and all that jazz. Expression of opinion, that has always been this way. Humanity has always been opinionated. Now the new social media platforms are just giving more platform to it, really, and more of a floor to it. Socialization. We're social creatures. We have always been that way. It's not news. It's just that now we are having more of a circle because we are connected with 1,000 people, sometimes super unhealthy people as well, who should have been deleted a while ago, sometimes exes, sometimes crazy things that is absolutely unhealthy. A good clear up, I think, is always welcome. Socialization has always been that way. Now it's just giving new platforms to it. And then self-development, we have always wanted to be the best self of ours, and now it's just being kind of, like motivated by online media, that we look at a very pretty lady or a very strong man or a very something, like a very like an example to follow, and then we will believe that we can be like them, and it's just motivating us, sometimes taking away confidence, but sometimes it happens a lot of the times. I think that you look at a fitness person or something and you think like, I should be eating healthier, or I should be training more regular or something, right? So self-development has always been there. It's just that the online media is just motivating it more because you've got contact with the whole world and it's just way more options. Okay, media revolution, that's a new topic. I think it's pretty much enough for today, ladies and gents. I'm very happy that we met, really. And now let's go into Microsoft Teams. Let's talk about everything that we have heard. And thank you so much for your attention. It was lovely being with you, and stay safe and see you in a minute. Thank you.